G'day, Tragic here, and welcome back to Too Many Bones. This is turn 1, or day 1 as they call it in this particular game. And this is a weird kind of prelude round. There's a couple of these prelude rounds. And so the game isn't going to really start getting cooking until like day 4. But basically the way this game works is, oh my god, I've got to stop saying basically every second sentence. It's like really annoying me. Every round you basically... I just did it again. Every round you move the day round, except for the first day, which stays on 1. And you draw a card, you resolve the card, and that's the round. So it's very simple. You draw a card, resolve a card, draw a card, resolve a card. It's pretty much it. Now, you might notice that it looks a little different on the table from the beginning. That's because I did some little tweaks to the mod just to make it a little bit more friendly for YouTube. Like, I scaled these up so I can zoom in and you can actually read them on the channel. And I added some nice little handy dice rollers to help me try and, play a little quicker. So we're going to have a really super fast overview of our Gearlocks. We have Tantrum. He is basically, he is our Berserker Rage Combat Super Duper Fighter Killer guy. He has this rage counter here, which will tick over, and as he gets more and more angry, he can do better and better abilities. He also is able to scavenge for axes, which he can kind of throw at people. Plus, he has a body count thing, so as he kills people, he gets other abilities. So he's just all about the murder. Over here we have Gilly. He is a ranger. You can see he's got the bow. He's got this nice little peg leg as well. He's an interesting character. He doesn't start with any dice on his mat as far as I can tell. And he can basically go a couple of different ways. He can go into a full, Legolas style shoot him in the face guy. Or he can go into a more, familiar, have like little pets who run around and fight with him. Now, we're not going to go that route. We're going to go through the multi-arrow path, allowing, and the trap path. So he's going to set traps and do sort of AoE damage with his bows. That's the plan for him. Over here we have Nugget. Nugget is basically a thief kind of character. She has melee and ranged, very versatile, and also these funky innate abilities of picking locks. And I'll show you what that all means when we start picking locks. She also has a slingshot die, which is a counter. It's a consumable. So as you gain these things, they'll the counter will go up, and then when you're depleted, you're at 0 and you have to go and find more ammo. You'll see all that in action. And here we have Tink. Tink is a really cool Gearlock. It's one of my favorites. Bomber is my favorite, but this is near it. He is like a classic traditional engineer style fantasy character who's sort of like that steampunk kind of engineering thing. He has basically automated turrets or spider robots, Shiro style, that run around killing things for you. They are basically familiars, which is why we're going to not bother with this guy's familiars. We're going to use the tinkers instead. So he starts with a spider bot, and he starts with a simple build. You can gradually get better builds, and you build different machinery, goes into all these different things, and that gives the robot different abilities as we go. And it has its own health pool, its own attack values, and everything. Very, very cool. Okay, and that is about the end of that. So we are fighting Mulmesh, as I went through in the first video, who's this sort of evil, I don't know if evil's the right word, really bitter might be the better way to put it. He is a bitter werewolf. He doesn't like the fact that he's been turned into a werewolf, and he takes 6 completed successes to beat, and he has a total of 9 days to do it. So we've got 9 days to get in there and kill him, and that means we can basically fail 3 days worth of stuff. Okay, so let's pull the first card and see what happens. Leaving Obendar. Only 12 hours till dawn and the send-off ceremony that will no doubt change the lives of every remaining Gearlock and likely every life in Dylor. Weapons and supplies are ready to go, but the night is young and adrenaline fills the veins. It's clear no sleep will be had tonight. There is sure to be some shady peddlers in dark alleys ready to deal in loot. Then again, some last-minute training could pay a nice dividend by morning. So what do you want to do, baby? The entire game is draw a card, resolve the card, and the cards all look like this. They have choices on them, sort of like a choose your own adventure. And the choices have different difficulties or whatever, and they then have different rewards. This particular card, the first 3 cards in the starting deck, are always the same. And this one anyway, does not have any fail condition. You can see that it has 1 cog, so it counts towards 1 of the 6 needed to win the game, and there's no way to fail it. And these values here in these sort of 2 circles are the rewards, and these values at the top tells you what kind of event it is. They're all listed over in the manual. You can see that that little spider symbol means that there is no battle. So we get to choose either of these, squeeze in some last minute self-improvements, gain 2 training points, or shake down a shady peddler, gain 1 training point. Each party member may draw 2 loot and choose 1 to keep. Interesting. I think I'm going to take the second one. I think probably the 2 skill points is actually a better choice, but I prefer just to getting loot, because loot is loot, and loot is why I like to loot things. Let's get the loot. And we get a skill point as well. So bam. Let's do that right now. Give the loot a quick shuffle. This card and a lot of this game is a little bit strangely worded. So you sort of read this as, say, the top one. Gain 2 training points. That's the quest. And then it's got a reward of another 2 training points. But I think it's just to sort of teach you how the reward symbols work. So you don't gain 4 training points. You know what I'm saying? But technically, these text areas, gain and all that, are actually rewards. The quest is just to choose one, and then we get the rewards. So that is important because Nugget over here has a special ability called Treasure Hunter, which allows her to draw an extra loot card every time she draws one from an encounter reward. So she actually gets to draw 3, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so let's have a look at what we got. Yablam! Flare Distraction. Before battle, reduce your total baddie points by 3. Interesting. That could come very handy later. Raider Armor. I think that's an excellent one, especially for our Berserker. Okay. What have you got for us? Tattered Map. At the start of a new day, draw an additional encounter card. Choose one and place the other at the bottom of your encounter deck. That's interesting. I don't know enough about the game to really pick and choose my encounters, so I'm just going to go with the randoms. Let's see what this one... Fortunate Discovery. Select one of your consumable skill dice and place it in its spot on your mat. It is now available. That is very cool. So that's what I'm going to take. I'll just leave this here for now. And what have you got? Another Fortunate Discovery. Sparing Weapon. Permanent. Ignore bones during any of your training attempts. Wow, that is pretty damn awesome. Teruan Gem. Merchants will offer you a trove loot chest in exchange for this gem. Seek out a merchant during your recovery phase. Okay, this is a bit weird. The recovery phase, and I just searched the manual, the word merchant does not exist in the manual at all. So I'm thinking that this gives us an extra recovery phase option called going to a merchant. Getting a trove loot chest sounds pretty awesome, and it is also on Nugget, so I think we're going to use that. Sparing Weapon might be the better choice. And finally, Yablam. Last Battle Stew. Use until depleted. Place 7 hit points on this card. At the start of each new day, remove 1 hit point for spoilage. Outside of battle, any Gearlock may remove any number of hit points from the stew to heal for that amount. Troll Brew. Outside of battle, permanently increase your health stat die by 1. At the start of your next battle, reduce your current health points by 3. That's pretty hardcore. Okay, so let me think. So currently he has 3 health. So this would kill him. Single use. Okay, I actually do like that though. So we're going to take the horn and see if we can figure out a way to get it to function. That is single use, single use, single use, and that is permanent. And now that we've picked up our loot cards, it's time to just do our upgrading. So the way upgrading works is that you can basically gain a dice in any of your skill slots. This is an RPG sort of dice builder as it's touted on the box, but it's very easy to level up. The progression isn't arduous like in a lot of RPG games. In fact, the only sort of well, not annoying, but the only difficult type of leveling is if you want to level your attack or your defense, because you actually need to roll for it and not get a bone. But everything else is immediate. So looking at here, we have 3 dexterity, which means we can roll 3 dice, and we have 3 attack, which means at the moment we cannot roll any more dice than we currently have. What I'm thinking is that I am going to upgrade my health straight away to level an extra level. And what are you going to do? We can start work on his traps, or he can upgrade his attack. I think we are going to go straight into upgrading his attacks and take multi-arrow 1. Notice that he starts with 3 dexterity, but only starts with 2 dice, so we'll be able to roll this one quite easily. And we actually have Fortune Discovery, which means that we can get one of his consumables. Extra mech leg, camo, and bait. Extra mech leg, wow, that is pretty awesome. That's basically allows us to gain bones really, really quickly. That could be a great, really early thing to take. Just get straight to our level 8. So I'm actually going to take that. Mech leg is die 8. No, die 4 we want. Yeah, bam. And that is the end of this thing. Now we have Nougat. We're not really sure what to do with Nougat. I don't quite understand what she's doing. I think just to be safe, I'm going to give her... She's got 3 dexterity and 3 dice. Just to be safe, I'm going to give her another health as well, which is these ones. Bam. So she's now got 5 health. Keep dropping that in my roller. And Tink. I think Tink is very interesting. He's got 4 dexterity and he's got 2 dice. Now the other dexterity is used for his spider bot, and I think we're going to go straight with a long-range firearm die. Now the way this works is, when this was just by chance when I placed it and went in there, but I think I might have to actually roll it. So you roll this thing. Ugh. Get in there. You roll this thing, and see how the gear is pointing to Annihilator and armor plating? That means that at the moment, the spider bot is not configured to use the firing arm attachment we just gained. But we can re-roll this during combat and try and get it set up correctly, which is what we're going to be doing. And I think that's the way that works. Actually, while I was editing, I just remembered this dice can be rotated as we like. And then we'll just rotate this manually. So you can rotate this to point at different things. So we'll stick it like this for now. I think we'll stick it on Firearm and Annihilator. Now we happen to roll this as it was placed, but basically every time you are fighting, you get the opportunity to re-roll that die and reconfigure it. So during the setup, we just rolled this once and it just happened to lie on that, and then we rotated it to match, so we actually do have access to our gun first round. Pretty sure that is how it works. That's going to be a bit of a hassle through the course of the game I'm going to have the toolbar window open to do rotations there. Now, the interesting part is we have completed the quest. Very, very nice. So we have 1 point down. And we go straight to the recovery phase. And in the recovery phase, we can trade, we can do lockpicking attempts, and of course we can do our rests and recovers. So there's actually quite a lot we can do with our initial setup, because this is all basically a guided setup. For starters, merchants will offer you a trove loot chest in exchange for this gem. Seek out a merchant during your recovery phase. So that's what we're in. So let's discard the gem and grab a trove loot. Bam. I have to look up the rules for that now. And Troll Brew, we can also do this. This is a single use. It doesn't take an action. Outside of battle, permanently increase your health stat die by 1. So we get 1 health. There we are. Permanently increase it by 1. At the start of your next battle, reduce your current hit points by... Oh wait, we can't do this because we only have 3. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, we can't do that. So I'm going to actually trade that to Nougat. Yeah. I'll just let him hold on to it for now. Once we've got a bit more health on our backs, we'll be able to use this. I probably shouldn't have kept that. Now finally, we get to do our actions. And we're basically going to do scout the area. So we roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, we reveal a 1 point baddie. On a 4 to 5, we reveal a 5 point. 6, we reveal a 20 point. And these are actually additive. So if I reveal 4 guys, I can look 4 deep into the deck. So we get a 6, so we get to reveal the 20 point. He gets a 3, so we get to reveal a 1 point. And he'll actually do a trade. I think he's going to trade. Actually, he's going to do... No, he's going to keep this, but he's going to do a trade, and he's going to send it over to... dude over here. So for Nougat's action, we're actually going to try and unlock the lockbox, which is pretty hardcore. It's a 525. So let's grab the lock loot. Now the way this works is it's all written here, and you basically... Oh, I've got to stop saying basically. It's all written here, and you have a intuition die, and then you have another 3 types of die that each access the lock, which is the lever, trip, and force of that lock. Now, when you're resolving, you have to work from left to right. So the first lock we need to resolve is a 5. And so say we roll correctly, we can place the 5 and we're done. And then the next time we can roll everything that we didn't roll last time, except for the this one is always rolled, and this has, you know, funky little addendums to it. So this is my first time trying to unlock something. Let's see how we go. Let's roll all these dice. Blam. Okay, so we have a 3, a 1, and a 2, and we have this thing here which allows us to relocate one die to a different type. But I don't think we can use it because we have to do the lever first. Okay, so what we have actually rolled here is 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that was a 1. 6 force. What we're trying to roll here is a lever. So if I'm correct, see, that is a trip, and that is what a lever looks like. So it's got the L. We can basically do nothing with this, so we get to re-roll the whole thing. Is that right? So as we have basically used none of our dice, we get to re-roll them all until we're out of action dice. Bam. Now we have 2 lever, which again does nothing. We have this one, which puts a +1. We're looking for 5 leather. So what, we just keep rolling this until we get 5 leather. Ah, and look at that. We now have 5. So we go bam and bam. That is 5 leather, which means we have solved one spot. And now we've moved on to trip. So we get to, well, I actually might just use my initiative dice. This is sort of intuition, and we can change this dice to any die of a different type. So this is a 3 leather. I can't pronounce leather. This is 3 lever, but we are going to turn that into a 3 trip, which is enough to pass this other lock. And that has now passed 2 of the 3 needed. And all we need now is the 5 force, and we've opened it. So this is not passed, but we've basically unlocked half of it. That is correct, right? It seems very weird. So those count until next time. So next time we have to roll 5 force. Okay, so I think that's what happens. Like it definitely says right here, roll action dice. The same type of lock type may be added together to solve the lock, which is what we're doing. Used action dice are exhausted for the remainder of the attempt. Any action dice not used to solve your current lock may be carried forward to the next. So we just kept rolling all the dice and we didn't use any, so we could keep rolling them, right? Oh well, someone will tell me if that's wrong. And that, my friends, is the end of the first round. There's just one little change I want to make. When I was doing the loot, I mean, because as you probably noticed from this playthrough, I'm a very heavy beginner in this game. And what I just realized is that this Raider armor is completely useless on Tantrum because he's not rolling any dice at all. Now, we use 2 scouts to look at the stacks, and we use one of our recoveries to pick a lock, and we use another one to trade. Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this trade back to Tink. So his recovery was used to do a scout, and this guy, he did a scout, but instead we're going to send this item to Nougat. Now, until we get some defense dice, we'll keep the armor over there. You can only carry 4 items. He's already got a trove loot, and the heavy armor counts as 3. But because she's actually rolling defense dice, actually, you know what? I'm going to send it over to Tink, because Tink is pretty wimpy. So we're just going to do that quick little fix because I'm so noobish at this game. And that's that. That is the end of the first turn. It's a kind of guided setup turn. The action starts next turn. We'll have our first combat. We'll use this battle board and we'll see all the combat in action. So that is the first turn of Too Many Bones. I'm a noob, so let me know if there's any mistakes. There is probably tons. And I'll see you guys next time.